It was Halloween night, and Jake and his girlfriend Lisa decided to watch a horror movie at his place. They had been dating for a few months, and they enjoyed spending time together. They both loved horror movies, and Jake had a large collection of DVDs that he had inherited from his uncle. They picked a DVD from his collection and popped it into the player. The movie was called The Masked Killer, and it was about a masked killer who stalked and murdered a group of teenagers in a remote cabin. The movie had a low budget, and the acting was terrible, but the gore and the suspense were decent. As they watched, Jake noticed that Lisa was getting scared. She clutched his arm and buried her face in his chest whenever a jump scare happened. He smiled and wrapped his arm around her, feeling protective and amused. "Are you okay, babe?" he asked. "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just a movie, right?" she said, trying to sound brave. "Of course, nothing to be afraid of," he said. He kissed her on the forehead and resumed watching. The movie was getting more intense, and the killer was closing in on the final girl. Jake felt a slight chill in the air and wondered if he should turn up the heater. Suddenly, the movie stopped. The screen went black and a message appeared. No signal. "What the hell?" Jake said. He got up and checked the DVD player. It was still on, but the disc was gone. "Where did it go?" he said. He looked around and saw the disc on the floor next to the couch. It had a deep scratch on it, as if someone had taken it out and slashed it with a knife. He felt a surge of fear and turned to Lisa. "Lisa, did you see that?" he said. But Lisa was not on the couch. She was gone. "Lisa!" he called out. He heard a scream from upstairs. It was Lisa's voice. He ran to the stairs and saw a trail of blood leading to his bedroom. He followed it and opened the door. He saw Lisa on the bed, covered in blood. She had multiple stab wounds on her chest and neck. She was still alive, but barely. "Jake, help me!" she gasped. He rushed to her side and tried to stop the bleeding. He looked around and saw a figure standing in the corner. It was the killer from the movie. He was wearing a mask and holding a knife. He smiled and said in a distorted voice, "Happy Halloween, Jake." He lunged at him and stabbed him in the heart. Jake fell to the floor next to Lisa. He looked into her eyes and saw the fear and pain in them. He felt his life slipping away and whispered, "I love you, Lisa." She whispered back, "I love you, Jake." They died in each other's arms as the killer laughed and turned off the lights. The next morning, the police arrived at Jake's house. They had received a call from his neighbor, who had heard screams and noises during the night. They broke down the door and found the bodies of Jake and Lisa on the bed. They also found the DVD player and the disc of The Masked Killer on the floor. They checked the disc and saw that it had a note attached to it. It read, "Dear Jake, I hope you enjoyed the movie. It was a special edition made just for you. You see, I am the Masked Killer, and you are my nephew. Your uncle was my brother, and he betrayed me. He stole my money and my fame. He was the one who made the movie, and he used me as the killer. He didn't pay me or give me any credit. He ruined my life, and I swore revenge. I killed him, and I took his DVDs. I knew you would watch them someday, and I waited for the right moment. I followed you, and I saw you with Lisa. She was pretty, and I wanted her. So I decided to make a sequel starring you and her. I hope you liked it. It was the last thing you ever saw. Happy Halloween, Jake. Your loving uncle, the Masked Killer." In a small, forgotten village, nestled amidst twisted woods and fog-laden fields, there lived a brave-hearted child named Thomas. With his fascination for the unknown, Thomas often explored the outskirts of the village, his adventurous spirit leading him where others dared not tread. One fateful Halloween night, as the moon cast an eerie glow upon the land and shadows danced with haunting glee, Thomas stumbled upon an ancient, abandoned mansion that loomed ominously at the edge of the woods. Its windows were like vacant eyes, staring out at the world with a chilling silence. Driven by curiosity, Thomas pushed open the rusty gates and stepped into the mansion's overgrown garden. The air grew colder, and a shiver ran down his spine as he approached the creaking front door. With a hesitant hand, he pushed it open, the hinges groaning in protest. The inside was draped in darkness, broken only by slivers of moonlight filtering through tattered curtains. Thomas's heart raced, but something pulled him further into the foreboding halls. As he explored the echoing corridors, whispers seemed to dance on the edge of his hearing, taunting and teasing. Shadows darted and swirled, creating macabre shapes upon the walls. Yet, Thomas pressed on, determined to uncover the mansion's secrets. In a forgotten room tucked away in the darkest corner, he discovered an old music box covered in dust. Its delicate melody filled the air, sweet yet haunting. Mesmerized, Thomas traced the intricate carvings on its surface, unaware of the sinister force he had awakened. Suddenly, the music box's tune warped into a haunting melody, echoing through the mansion with an otherworldly power. Shadows twisted and converged, forming a sinister figure that loomed over Thomas, freezing him with fear. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" the figure intoned in a voice that seemed to seep from the very walls. Trembling, Thomas stuttered, I didn't mean any harm. I was just exploring." The figure's eyes gleamed with an eerie light. "Then you shall be part of this place forever," it hissed, reaching out with ghostly hands. But in a flash of bravery, Thomas clutched the music box and dared to sing an ancient rhyme his grandmother once taught him, a tune to banish the malevolent spirits. As the haunting melody escaped his lips, the figure writhed and dissolved into mist, the mansion quaking with otherworldly fury. Thomas, heart-pounding, fled the mansion, the music box still echoing his protective melody. He emerged into the moonlit night, the mansion collapsing behind him, consumed by the very darkness it had harbored. Gasping for breath, Thomas clutched the music box, its tune fading into the night. He returned to the village, the tale of his bone-chilling encounter spreading like wildfire. From that day forth, the ancient music box remained his most treasured possession, a reminder of the horrors he faced and the courage that saved him on that spine-chilling Halloween night. The haunting melody lingered in Thomas's mind long after that fateful night, its eerie notes a haunting memory of the otherworldly encounter. He shared his harrowing experience with the villagers, warning them of the dangers lurking within the abandoned mansion and the power of ancient incantations. As Halloween approached the following year, the village buzzed with apprehension and curiosity. Thomas, now regarded as a brave hero among the children, found himself sought after for more spooky tales and advice on navigating the eerie night. However, as the moon rose on Halloween, an unsettling feeling settled upon the village. Whispers of an unsettling presence in the woods spread like wildfire, sending shivers down the spines of the villagers. In the dead of night, as the clock struck midnight, a haunting melody drifted through the village, chilling the air. It emanated from the very woods where Thomas had faced the malevolent force. Children huddled in fear, adults exchanged worried glances, and the once-forgotten fear of the unknown crept back into the villagers' hearts. Realizing that the malevolent force had not been banished, Thomas took charge, his bravery resurfacing. With the ancient music box clutched tightly in hand, he led a group of courageous villagers towards the heart of the haunting melody. As they approached the woods, the melody grew louder, echoing with an otherworldly power. Shadows danced with malice, and a cold wind swept through the trees, chilling the very bones of the group. With unwavering determination, Thomas raised the music box and began to sing the ancient rhyme, the protective tune he had used to banish the spirits before. The melody intertwined with the haunting notes, creating a harmonic battle between good and evil. In a crescendo of eerie sounds, the malevolent force materialized once again, a spectral figure looming before them. But this time, Thomas stood firm, his voice unwavering as he chanted the ancient verses. With a piercing shriek, the figure recoiled, its form dissipating into the night, defeated by the power of courage and ancient knowledge. The haunting melody ceased, replaced by an eerie silence that settled over the woods. As dawn broke on November 1st, the village emerged from the harrowing night, relieved that the malevolent force had been banished once and for all. Thomas, hailed as a true hero, kept the music box close, a symbol of bravery and resilience in the face of darkness. The tale of Thomas and his encounters with the supernatural became a cherished legend, passed down through generations. And every Halloween night, as the moon cast its ghostly light upon the village, the memory of Thomas's bravery echoed through the hearts of the villagers, a testament to the courage that could conquer even the darkest of nightmares. I was walking home from a Halloween party, feeling a bit tipsy and tired. It was a cold night and the streets were deserted. I decided to take a shortcut through the park, thinking it would save me some time. I regretted that decision as soon as I entered the park. It was dark and eerie, and I felt like someone was watching me. I heard strange noises like twigs snapping and leaves rustling. I saw shadows moving in the corners of my eyes. I quickened my pace, hoping to get out of there as soon as possible. But then I heard a rustle behind me and a low growl. I turned around and saw a huge black dog with glowing red eyes and sharp teeth. It looked like a hellhound, straight out of a horror movie. It snarled at me, and I felt a surge of fear. I ran, but it was faster. It chased me across the park, and I knew I had no chance of escaping. It pounced on me, knocking me to the ground. I felt its teeth sink into my neck, and I screamed in pain. I tried to fight it off, but it was too strong. It ripped my throat out, and I felt my life slipping away. I died, but that was not the end. I woke up, in the same park, in the same spot. But I was not alone. There were other people there, all dead, all victims of the hellhound. They looked at me with pity, and I realized I was one of them now. We were trapped in the park, doomed to relive our deaths every night, until someone else came along and took our place. We were the hellhound's toys, and it was his Halloween treat. But there was more. I learned that the hellhound was not just a random beast. It was a cursed creature, bound to the park by a dark ritual. It was once a man, a cruel and wicked man, who had killed many people for his own pleasure. He was caught and executed, but not before he made a deal with the devil. He agreed to become the hellhound and to hunt and kill anyone who entered the park at night. He thought it was a way to continue his evil deeds, but he did not realize the price he had to pay. He had to suffer the pain of his own death every time he killed someone. He had to feel the agony of his victims and the guilt of his sins. He had to live in eternal torment with no hope of redemption. He was the hellhound's master, and he was the hellhound's slave. He tried to break free from the curse, but he could not. He tried to find someone who could lift the curse, but he could not. He tried to end his own existence, but he could not. He was trapped, just like us. He hated us, and he hated himself. He wanted us to suffer, and he wanted to suffer. He was a monster, and he was a man. He was the hellhound, and he was the narrator. I saw him every night in his human form. He was a tall, thin man with pale skin and black hair. He wore a black suit and a red tie, like a businessman. He had a scar on his cheek and a cold smile on his lips. He looked like a normal person, but he was not. He would walk around the park, looking for his next prey. He would whistle a tune like he was enjoying himself. He would spot someone, and he would follow them. He would wait for the right moment, and he would transform into the hellhound. He would attack them, and he would kill them. He would laugh, and he would cry. He would return to his human form, and he would walk away. He would see me, and he would taunt me. He would say things like, "Hello, old friend. How are you feeling today? Are you ready for another round of fun?" He would mock me, and he would insult me. He would say things like, "You know, you were one of my favorite victims. You put up such a good fight. Too bad you were no match for me." He would laugh and he would cry. He would walk away and he would leave me alone. He would do this every night for as long as I can remember. He would never stop, and he would never change. He was the hellhound, and he was the narrator. And I was his victim, and I was his listener.